Up next, I admit I used to hate this group's music with a passion, but you all convinced me to give them another chance, so I took your advice, and today's song has become a favorite of mine over the last few weeks. And the story behind it is just as rich. It was written by the group's main songwriter as he was going through the breakup of his marriage with one of the singers in the band. It was a heart-wrenching, vulnerable song about divorce, and he admits the subject was so challenging emotionally that he wrote it while he was drunk. And then he brought it in to record and decided that he should sing it. But he knew in his heart that his ex had to be its interpreter, even though there was another famous female in the band that could handle it just as well. In fact, this other option, singing option, she was jealous she didn't get to do it. So in the middle of their separation, while her ex-husband, who already had a new girlfriend, was there, this songbird sang the hell out of this thing, and it would become a classic. And that was only the start. She had to sing it live with him right next to her. And of course, the band eventually broke up. The story is so compelling, it's coming up on Professor of Rock. Hey, music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you ever broke the knob on your TV in the 70s or 80s and had to turn the channel with pliers, you're going to dig this channel of deep musical nostalgia. Make sure to subscribe below right now to be a part of our Music History Daily, straight from the artist, mind you. And to become an honorary producer on our Patreon, click on the link in the description and check out our new merch below. You know, as the lyrics go in that wonderful pop ditty by Neil Sedaka and Howard Greenfield, breaking up is hard to do. Breaking up is hard to do. The first breakup is indelibly etched in our minds just as much as the last one. But those who have experienced divorce know what I mean when I say that it is the motherlode. The most devastating of all breakups, for sure. Putting any financial impact aside and focusing solely on the emotional suffering it causes, DIVORCE, divorce, is about as traumatic as human drama gets. I mean, when you enter into a marriage, you go all in with a contract for life, making that sacred vow till death do us part. The marriage fails, it's as if you failed. Your whole world comes crashing down. Divorce affects every aspect of your life and the lives of those of your family and friends. In the story of the internationally beloved group ABBA, divorce was like death. It killed the band.
I tried to reach for you, but you have closed your mind.
Thanks to many of you in the POR community out there that encouraged me to revisit The Winner Takes It All from ABBA, I've discovered the empathic brilliance of this song. Written about the heartbreaking experience of divorce, where one person clings desperately to the marriage. You know, I'd heard it before, but as I mentioned before, I've never liked ABBA's music, so I didn't pay most of their output any mind. But I must say, since I took the challenge of listening to their music for 3 days, and then after releasing that video on them and taking some of your suggestions about their songs, this one's become a classic for me. So, following a collaboration on the musical arrangement with his colleague Benny Andersson, the lyrics for The Winner Takes It All were written in an uncharacteristic setting by Bjorn Ulvaeus. The inspiration came to him after he separated from his then-wife, ABBA co-lead vocalist Agnetha Faltskog.
The winner takes it all.
Now, Bjorn and Benny started writing The Winner Takes It All in the summer of 1979 in a cottage on the island of Vigsal. Benny recalled that the idea for the song suddenly emerged from some old musical pieces they had lying around. Initially, the demo was called The Story of My Life, and it had a constant up-tempo beat. However, they felt it was much too stiff and metrical, so they set it aside for a few days and they started working on other songs. For days, the song consisted only of 2 phrases, with the chorus lines following one another immediately. One day while playing the song in the countryside, Benny paused after each line of the chorus, allowing it to gather itself. Suddenly, it became a song. When Benny and Bjorn brought their latest song to Polar Music Studios in Stockholm in June 1980, they knew they had something really special. After all, they'd put a lot of time and effort into shaping it into a position to record it. Even in the early stages, just the two of them with a piano guitar and some hummed nonsense words, they were really excited about the fruits of their labor. However, they hadn't yet figured out the best way to record it, and the final lyrics were still unwritten. Now, at this stage, the song was known by its working title, The Story of My Life. As usual with the Bjorn Ulvaeus arrangement, it was still flexible. Nothing was set in stone. Bjorn and Andersson played around with it for hours, sensing that they were very close to something really cool. However, it still lacked the counterpoint that became a key ingredient, and the recording didn't feel right. It was only when Andersson added the other part of the arrangement that the song truly started to make sense.
Now it's history.
The Winner Takes It All was constructed around two phrases with a counterpoint. Andersson played the descending theme that opens the song, runs beneath the chorus, and modulated in response to the verse's vocal melody. Bjorn believed that without this core element, the song really wouldn't exist. Music is not only melody, it's everything you hear, everything you put together, but without a strong and preferably original melody, it doesn't matter what you dress it up with, it has nothing to lean on. Bjorn's words, and great words of wisdom for songwriters. When the duo returned to the song, Benny had the idea to use a French chanson-style arrangement with a descending piano line and a looser structure. Bjorn then recorded a demo using nonsense French words for the lyrics and took it home to write the real lyrics for The Winner Takes It All. Bjorn confided that he wrote The Winner Takes It All under the influence, though. Although he typically avoided drugs and alcohol, as a general rule, he got a little tipsy, a little pissed drinking brandy while writing The Winner Takes It All. And he says it was the quickest lyric he ever wrote. Bjorn elaborated that by the time he wrote the line, "The gods may throw the dice" in the second chorus, the bottle was empty.
The gods may throw a dice.
With Benny on keyboards and the help of session musicians Lasse Wellander on guitar, Mike Watson on bass, Ola Bronkert on drums, and Ace Sundqvist providing invaluable rhythmic percussion, they began to bring their creation to life. Bjorn conceived The Winner Takes It All right into the separation. He'd been into it a year, and the divorce of band member Agnetha Faltskog, making the lead vocal a bit surreal. But actually, Bjorn didn't plan to have Agnetha sing the lead. He broke it down like this, and I quote, "I sang a demo of it myself, and a lot of people liked it, telling me that I should be the one to sing it. But it made sense for Agnetha to do it." Bjorn remembered bringing it to the studio, and everyone thought it was just great. And it was strange for Bjorn to hear Agnetha sing it. It's almost like she was a different person, but it was deeply moving. Bjorn shared that there were even a few tears afterward. I mean, can you imagine this scenario? You're going through a heart-wrenching divorce, and your husband, your ex-husband, hands you a no doubt about a hit song about divorce that he wrote, and you, his former lover, you have to sing it. It just doesn't get more heartbreaking than that.
If it makes you feel sad.
Now, I should point out that despite the personal connection, Bjorn insisted that 90% of the song is fiction, which made him feel better about having his ex-wife sing it. What he said is he clarified the distinction between fact and fiction by pointing out that in the case of his divorce with Agnetha, there wasn't a winner or a loser. They were both affected. Now, even though Bjorn sang lead on many album cuts on ABBA albums, he recognized that The Winner Takes It All required a lead vocal by an accomplished singer. ABBA boasted the talents, of course, of two lead vocalists in Agnetha and Frida. They'd often team up to provide a double lead on many of ABBA's greatest hits, like Dancing Queen, the band's lone #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1976. There's another side to the story about how Agnetha was ultimately chosen over Frida to sing the lead on The Winner Takes It All. Benny once stated that the decision on which singer takes the lead depends on who really loves the song, and if they both like it, they share the lead vocals. However, there are others close to the group that claim that the decision was always based on whose voice was just better suited for a particular song. ABBA kept it quiet, but Frida privately was jealous about Agnetha being selected over her to take the lead on The Winner Takes It All. And even though Bjorn said that, 90% of the song is fiction, it still portrayed a failed marriage. That was the nonfiction that nobody could disregard. So how did Agnetha feel about interpreting the song in her own voice, since it was presented to her at such a vulnerable time by the person that was the source of that pain? One would think that it would be an incredibly awkward position for Agnetha to be in. But to some surprise, Agnetha approached her vocal very professionally and delivered, I must say, an amazing, heartfelt performance. In a May 2013 interview with The Mail, Agnetha revealed that The Winner Takes It All is her favorite ABBA song. Bjorn wrote it about us after the breakdown of our marriage. The fact that he wrote it exactly when we divorced is touching, really. It was fantastic to do that song because I could put in such feeling. I didn't mind sharing it with the public. It didn't feel wrong. There's so much in that song. It was a mixture of what I felt and what Bjorn felt, but also what Benny and Frida went through.
About things we've gone through.
As we continue to break down this incredible song, I do want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear. The frames I wear every single day on here. I'm telling you, if you need a new pair of glasses, look no further. You can go design your own at our info button right up here or the link below. You can add amazing features like blue blocks that protect your eyes from digital blue light. The perfect weapon against rising inflation is Zenni. You can get up to 80% off regular retail prices. Seriously, add some style to your life, to your summer. Check it out today.
I played all my cards.
When Agnetha and Frida arrived at the studio to add their vocal magic to the recording, some of those present saw the tears welling up in their eyes when they read the lyric sheet. Beyond the poignant lyrics, both Agnetha and Frida found the music to be equally as potent. Actually, Agnetha later shared that singing The Winner Takes It All felt like taking on an acting role. She didn't let her emotions overwhelm the performance. It was only much later that she realized that she created a small masterpiece.
Deep inside, you must know I miss you.
When ABBA formed in 1972, Agnetha and Bjorn had been married for a year. But Frida and Benny didn't marry until the height of ABBA's fame in 1978. Frida and Benny, they actually met in 1969, but they were living together by 71. Their marriage only lasted 2 years, with the divorce finalized in 81 in the middle of the friction between Agnetha and Bjorn. Wow, it's crazy. Agnetha was only 19 when she fell in love with Bjorn after the two met at a cafe in Stockholm. After 10 years of marriage and career partnership, the breakup was much more difficult for her than for Bjorn. She was very transparent in an interview with The Standard in the UK, sharing that she was emotionally mangled by the split with Bjorn, who was the father of her 2 children. Actually, Agnetha wrote in her 1997 book, As I Am, we always told the media that it was a happy divorce, which of course was a front. Obviously, we all know there are no such things as happy divorces, especially when there are children involved. Within a week of their divorce, Bjorn already had a new girlfriend, and Agnetha was in heavy counseling, trying to deal with the breakup.
No self-confidence.
She was able to find the emotional strength to conquer the heartbreaking sensitivity that was encapsulated in The Winner Takes It All. But there were 2 lines in verse 3 that she could barely get through when she was performing her vocal track for the recording. But tell me, does she kiss you like I used to kiss you?
Does she kiss like I used to kiss you?
Does it feel the same when she calls your name? Think again how Agnetha had to sing the song written by her ex in the middle of a divorce, and he's moved on, and she's recording it, and then had to cover it night after night with her ex-husband right beside her, who had already moved on. Again, it's just crazy. Talk about a challenge of the soul.
When she calls your name.
The Winner Takes It All was the first single released from ABBA's seventh studio record, Super Trooper, the best-selling album in 1980 in the UK, I might add. The tear-jerking song, with its swelling crescendos and touching interludes, was a #1 smash in South Africa, Belgium, Netherlands, Ireland, the UK, and an adult contemporary here in the US. It was the last real hit for ABBA here in America, peaking at #8 on the Billboard Hot 100. Producer Judy Kramer met Bjorn and Benny in '83 while they were collaborating with Tim Rice on the musical Chess. It was The Winner Takes It All that sparked Judy's idea about the theatrical potential of ABBA's music, of their songs. Although the duo was initially unenthusiastic, they weren't entirely opposed to this concept, and the conversations continued off and on for years until a collaboration was forged to produce the wildly successful musical Mamma Mia. This led to the romantic comedy of the same name in 2008 starring Meryl Streep. And this too was a box office smash. It grossed over $700 million. The two married couples may have divorced, but ABBA the band never officially ended. The quartet just stopped. Bjorn said it was for creative reasons, but it went deeper than that. They were drained emotionally from the strained relationships. Eventually, Agnetha, Frida, Bjorn, and Benny decided to go on a break, and it ended up being a hiatus that lasted about 40 years. ABBA never really toured much. One of the reasons is because Agnetha was deathly afraid of flying. A lot of people don't know that. Fans missed him terribly and begged for their return. Concert promoters opened up the checkbooks trying to lure them into reuniting, but money, it didn't matter. In 2000, during a resurgence of their multitude of hits, an American-British consortium offered ABBA $1 billion to reunite to play 100 shows. But the group unanimously declined the offer. ABBA's follow-up to Super Trooper was released in '81. Their 9th album, Voyage, that didn't come out until 2021. The ABBA faithful responded in droves. Voyage was #1 on the album chart in 23 countries, and it went to #2 here in the US. To date, the album has sold more than 3 million units, which is big time in these times. With the encouragement of my friends here in the Professor of Rock community, I've reevaluated the ABBA catalog, and I now have an appreciation for the depth of their songs. You know, there's still lighthearted pop fare that really isn't my cup of tea, but I now have found the genius in many of their tracks. Bjorn's lyricism is earnest and profound at times. Of course, I was familiar with Knowing You, Knowing Me, but I didn't do a deep dive into that one until recently. The Winner Takes It All has truly resonated with me. Like the 4 members of ABBA, I have experienced divorce in my past. I know what this does to a person and how painful the healing process is. When it happened to me, I felt like the loser in that game that I thought was going to be played for life or forever, as we grow up believing from watching romantic comedies and, we hear it played out in the songs that come from the radio. But then real life hits. Putting it all in perspective, I can't speak for my ex, but I now feel like the winner. For me, all the confusion, the depression, the heartache, the hurt, that I felt from the big D, it eventually went away. It was a process. But after I fully recovered, I found a grander level of love and happiness with my next marriage that I didn't know existed. But the effects of my divorce, in a crazy way, I'm thankful it happened. It strengthened me emotionally and it helped me evolve into a better partner and a better husband for my wife. Currently.
Feeling like a #1.
I have a great deal of respect for Bjorn's honesty in the song. His lyrics on The Winner Takes It All, it's been an inspiration for millions of fans, and it's become an inspiration to me. I admire Agnetha for having the courage to interpret that heavy song during such a challenging period in her life. The hair-raising authenticity of her vocal is a revelation. It's one of my new favorites, I'm telling you. I'm grateful to all of you who reached out to me and told me I've got to listen to it. I opened up my mind, my ears, and that's the kind of dialogue that I love on here, that we get to share our passion. That's what POR is all about. Thanks so much for watching. Leave us a comment about ABBA and The Winner Takes It All. What are your memories of the song? What are your feelings about it? Let us know in the comments below. Let's have a great discussion. If you like our content, we invite you to subscribe. We would love to have you as part of our community. It's a cool thing, I'm telling you. Till next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friend.